Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the recording for skills at the rate 100 where for 100 days we are bringing for you 100 different speakers from all over the country. The speaker is Mr. Shishir K and the topic is about Git and GitHub. He has over 5 plus years of experience and head of engineering at Clouds and Software. So now, what are we waiting for? Let's go. So hello everyone. Today we are in for the 42nd session of Skills at the Rate 100, where for 100 days we are inviting 100 different speakers from all over the country. And today's topic is very special. The topic is power of Git and GitHub, how we can organize, collaborate and innovate. We have today a special speaker, Mr. Shisir K. He is the head of engineering at Clouds and Software Labs. He is driving 4 flagship products: GST Gen, vAudit, Papilo, and Desk Audit. He is an alumnus of ISB Management Essentials. He has a blend of leadership, product strategy, and engineering. Plus, he has got 5 plus years of experience in technology and engineering. So, Shishirji, thank you so much for accepting our invitation for a very special topic for which I have received many requests. We were searching like GitHub pe koi acha sa bata de and all. So, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Lokeshji. So let me just start by presenting my screen. Yes, let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes, screen is visible.
Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening to everybody. Can I get some good evenings back on the chat? It's dinner time. I know everybody's exhausted. Maybe everybody had a tiring day, but I want some energy in the session. So let me get some chats. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Great. So I think everybody has not had their dinner yet, so everybody is still energetic. Good. Then let's get started. Today's session that I'll be giving you is a brief beginner level introduction about what Git and GitHub is. It is just the fundamentals of it. Is a very vast subject for everybody to learn, but I'll try to cover as much as possible in the 1 hour that I've got. Before I get started on the topic, Sir has given a beautiful introduction for me, but I will just introduce myself again. I am Shishir. I'm head of engineering in Clouds and Software Labs. I mainly drive 4 fintech products you might have heard. One is GST Zen, vAudit, Pepilio, Desk Audit. If any one of you are in financial services, probably would have heard of any one of these products. If you have not, please do have a look. Sorry for the small marketing, but again, please do have a look in this particular product that is out there. I'm also an alumnus of ISB, Indian School of Business. I've done a course called as Management Association from there. What I bring to the table is a blend of leadership, product strategy, and engineering. I was also a technical co-creator of vAudit. It is an audit automation tool. I do have 5 years of technical experience in engineering. Okay. Before I get started on Git and GitHub, I want to ask a couple of questions to you guys, right? How many of you have dwelled in this experience of renaming files, creating a new file called final doc, final version 2 doc, final, absolute final doc? How many of you have got this experience? Can any one of you go on unmute and tell me about this experience that you guys have? How irritating is this? Can I get anybody on the in the chat, or if anybody can unmute and talk? That would be great. If you could raise your hands, we would unmute you. Nobody has this experience. I have. This is fantastic. You guys had a very good life, or because I had this experience every now and then. I can see some chats. I can see some chats that you regularly do. Yes, a lot. That's very true for everybody, right? Like there's too many files to take care of, and then your client in the end time will come and ask one final change for this report, one final change for this design. Please change the font for this particular file. So that's very difficult. And how do you solve this? Again, it's too many files, right? Another thing, how many of you have problems when same file is edited by 20 different people? right? It's a hassle, it's a chaos. Everybody's editing the same file. It might be in Google Drive, Google Docs, or maybe a local shared files. It is very problematic to track who changed what changed when, is it really changed, or you're about to show somebody a presentation and somebody have changed this file at the last nth moment before you show. And another common problem is deleting your work. I mean, somebody would you would have put it in a shared file. Somebody would have come and deleted it, and there's nowhere to recover it. I mean, there is absolutely nowhere. God forbid if somebody in your own system, if you have by mistake deleted using shift delete, and there is no way to delete retract that file, and it is an important file. What do you do for these problems? Right? These are very commonly recurring problem and can be a tedious one to solve for. And this happens especially in coding also. Like in for coding also, it is very hard to track these files. So what did we come up? So the creator of a popular OS that runs the entire infra of cloud called OS of Linux, when he was writing this Linux, he had the same problem. So what he built is another offline tool called Git. A Git is a personal version control system. What is a version control system? A version control system is nothing but a control system locally present in a system which can track the changes that has happened to the file or to the system, or the file can be in any format, docs, presentation, or whatever that might be. Even for the matter of fact, a code. Mainly it was developed for code, but then you can track your files as well. So version control system is nothing but that. It is a version control where you know multiple versions exist in the same file. Right? It tracks your files like a CCTV. It is better than your neighborhood auntie who watches you like that, but then it tracks all the files that is possibly can on the system. It How it helps you is like it creates a time machine in your system. It is probably the best thing that you could hope for when you're having multiple files. It creates a time machine where you can go back in time and get the perfect version that you wanted from your system. How magic is it, right? It would solve all the three problems that I have previously mentioned. Even though files are deleted, you can go back in a time and get it. Even though if the files are changed, then you exactly know who changed it, what changed, what was the reason for it, for the change. All those can be tracked in the tool called as Git. This was mainly developed, as I said, to track code, but also can be used to track files. Now there are certain things that are very important to understand when you are trying to learn Git. Git is not an abbreviation, Git in a word itself, but people do also call it as Global Information Tracker. Right? Now, there are concepts that you need to learn when you need to understand Git. Now, before we get into these concepts, I'll tell you where this is useful. It is useful for controlling version histories. You can always go back and check your older draft at any time. As I said, it is like this priceless time machine that you have where you can go back at anything and come back. It can also help you to undo your mistake and roll back your mistake. Basically, when you have a time machine, every time you make a mistake, it is coming back in that multiverse and solving your problem. You can, if anybody watches Marvel, then you can be your own Doctor Strange at this point, right? So it also helps in collaboratively managing a project where multiple people can work at the same time. I'll show you how this is done, but then keep in mind that it is very helpful in teamwork as well. It also helps you to organizationally keep all the files in the same place without confusing multiple files. Now, there are some important concepts which you need to learn when you're learning it. For example, these are the 10 main things that you need to know when you're learning Git. I will go through individually, but I will just name the concepts here. The first concept is called repository. The second is called commit. The third is called add. The fourth is called branch. Fifth is called merge. Sixth is called push. Seventh is called pull. Eighth is called fetch. Ninth is called status. 10th is called log. Now, what does each of these mean? I know at this point you might feel it is overwhelming. The concepts are very technical to understand, but fear not. I'll try to explain all these concepts in as non-technical as possible in this session. Going to the first one, repository. What is a repository? Right? As I said, Git is a version control system. It can know what file changed, but it can also track multiple files. So what a repository is nothing but a folder. It is a parent folder where all the files will reside in. It is the primary parent folder and it is fancily called as a repository. But yeah, from going forward, I'll always mention the word repository for the main folder that we'll be working on. Second, a commit. I said the whole point of Git is to manage the state of files. So do we need to track every saved file? It doesn't make sense, right? Like you only want to save when you are working on a file. Every SDH that you type and save, should it have its own snapshot and save it? No, not really. Commit is a snapshot of a project at that moment. What do you commit want, or what do you want to commit is a workable solution or a workable content that you have that you want to commit at that time. Rather than saving every instances of type that you have, we would save a meaningful information that has changed. That particular snapshot can be saved as a checkpoint or a save point. This is called commit. And there's a concept called add. What is add? Preparing the file to be saved in the next commit is the basic add command that Git provides. These are all the commands that the Git provides that I'm informing you guys. So why is add required? As I said, in repository you can have multiple files saved at the same times. Maybe you're working on three different files of three different code that at this code files at the same time, but you only want to save one file because you're very confident that that particular file has a meaningful information saved in it, right? And you have completed whatever has to be changed on that particular part. So for that particular purposes, you can only add that particular file to be committed to the system rather than adding all the files that have been changed or modified. Now, the most important command or the most important topic of Git is branch. What is branch? Branch is a beauty in itself. Branch is a parallel storyline of your project. Let's say you have one particular file, but four people are working or want to work on it, and four different ways of working on it. Now, what do? Do you alter the same file again and again? No. But what Git provides is a concept called branch, where you can create separate save point or a checkpoint of a particular instance of the file that is present, so that each instance can be given to a particular person and he can have his own parallel edits in the same time. What branch allows you to do when a particular person works on a particular snapshot, let's say a snapshot A on the particular file, and makes its modification, it allows that particular branch to be merged to the main storyline. That the whole concept is called merge, that is present next. So what merged is when a person works on another branch, which is an identical representation of the main branch. In Git, there's a concept of a main branch and then the other branch. Main branch is the source of truth. That is where everything resides. Whatever is present in the master is the final work. But you can have multiple sub branches which can be an alternative workings on the same thing. What the merge command allows you to do is to combine these branches to the master branches, so that the whatever changes a person X has done on a branch B can be merged back into the main branch. Right now, you have done all this. Now, how, let's say, as I've said in multiple times, these things are stored locally. But how do you allow for another person to make changes to your system? Everybody can't sit on the same laptop and type, right? So each has to work on his own workstation. So this can be done using this remote repository concept where system can be stored on the cloud. So this push commands allows you to push your committed code to a particular remote repository. If you can push the code, you can also pull the code at the same time. So because somebody else would have changed the master branch or the main branch, and then the changes would have been done to the single source truth. But then you want it in your local system. You want to see that. How do you do this? Pull command will allow you to pull the information from the remote repository. The fetch does the same, but it does without merging it. I'll tell you what it means in the practical section of it. But understand, pull and fetch are pretty much the same. But whereas pull merges the information, fetch just extract the information from the repository, but not merge it. But so many things are happening. How do you track it? So there's this concept of commands called as status and log, where status will show you the current running status of the branch, and also git logs will show you what is the previous activity. Let's just say that it is a activity tracker present in Git. Now you've understood. I have told too many technical terms. I would like to know is if anybody has not understood a particular command or an information that was projected earlier, because whatever I told so far is a little technical. I just want to get a feedback if you have understood or not. I can get it on the chat, or I can also you can also unmute and ask doubts if you have.
If required, I will unmute anyone. Please let me know.
Okay, okay. Most of you are getting my the information that has given. Anybody who has not understood, please feel free to ask. Lokesh ji, can you unmute? Lokesh ji, can you unmute 148571?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Hello. Sir, my doubt is,
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
sir, can you show all these things in the portal itself, GitHub portal itself?
I will show you to in a practical
Because
session.
this is very like we are feeling it like it's very theoretical.
Yes, I will show it in a practical session. Before we get into the practical section, I just want you to understand what these concepts are. Okay, great. Anybody else? Okay. I'll move forward. We still have a Q&A session in the last. So if you guys have any doubts, you can write it down and ask it in the end. Okay. I will give you a quick workflow of how things are done in Git. Pretty much whatever theoretically I have shown, I'm just showing a graphical representation here. You will have a working directory for Git. In that working directory, whatever files that you add will be tracked by Git. When you make some changes, you can use the git add command to add it to the staging area, which will tell Git to recognize it to the commit. Once you are okay to commit the information, you are confident that you want to get committed with the checkpoint or the save point that whatever work you have done, you can use the git commit to save the files to locally. Once you have committed locally, you can push the same to a remote repository using the command git push. You can also pull the information from the remote repository using git fetch or git pull. Git checkout can be used to move between branches, and git merge can be used to merge information from a different branch or from a remote repository. Okay. Now, we have done all the Git things, and I've mentioned this word remote repository multiple times. What is a remote repository? Remote repository is something that is present in a particular server or cloud. Now, do you need to create server for each of this information that you have and maintain it? No. For that reason, somebody went ahead and built something called as GitHub. GitHub is an online home for Git repository, nothing more, nothing less. It is just a collection of Git repositories present in the internet. It is like a Google Drive, but designed for teamwork. It helps you to share, collaborate, and showcase your work. All right. So what does it allow? This it will allow your information rather to be just present in your local system to be put up in the internet where you can access that from anywhere. You can share it to anybody in the internet. It also provides you the ability to privately keep a repository or make it public. A lot of you would have heard this word floating around called open sources. Now, open sources are nothing but open public Git repositories present in GitHub where multiple public developers come and work on that tool to provide something free for the general users. And pretty much these are open, and a lot of big infrastructures are based on this open source work that is being done. So basically, GitHub is nothing but a collection of Git repositories present in the cloud, where people can access, collaborate, and showcase their work. Now, how does Git and GitHub work together? Right? Let's say we have three people. I have John, I have Sam, and I have Carlos. So John creates one repository, right? And he puts it up in GitHub. Now, John can work on documents here, and he can use commands that I've already explained: git add, git status, or git and git commit. And then he can push these commits to a particular repo, which is remote, which is hosted in GitHub. Right? GitHub is online. I'll show you. It is pretty online. It is like any other website that you access on the internet. Let's say like a Facebook, let's say like Instagram, or any other social media platform. It is like a social media platform for developers at some point. But again, it is an internet present facing website. Uh, Now, John has pushed this information. Now, what can Sam and Carlos do? Sam and Carlos can pull this information by either cloning or forking the repository present in GitHub. What does cloning and forking mean? Cloning is basically importing the entire document present in the GitHub into a local system. But as in fork, it is he will create a copy of the entire repository present in the GitHub to his own system or in his own GitHub. Then he clones the information to maintain sanity of the information. It is nothing more. It is the same information but present in a different way. So since the information now resides in GitHub, or the Git repository now resides in GitHub, all three, John, Sam, and Carlos, can work on the same file with which can be in the same branch or multiple branch, and work on different information as much as possible. So this is the basic workflow how people can collaborate between using GitHub. Now let us go. I know this is very theoretical and which is hard to grasp. Let me just share my change my screen sharing, and I will present you what GitHub does and how you can work around it. At this point, before we get started with the practical session, is there any other doubts that you guys have to the point? If there is any doubts, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you can unmute yourself. 148571.
Hello, am I audible,
Yes, ma'am.
sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the specific difference between clone and fork?
Specific difference is cloning is you're directly doing in your local system from somebody else's account. Forking is you're creating a replica of that in your particular GitHub account first, and then making a clone of it in your local system. There is an intermediary setup in your GitHub account, and not directly working in somebody else's account. So where does this come in handy is that you want to completely modify a particular project that somebody has done, but you don't want to affect the main project. That time you can fork that particular project in your GitHub account and make the necessary changes in your system and keep maintaining it yourself, so that the same project can have two different phases. Okay, I hope that clears it out. Can we get started on the practical session? Is there any other doubts if anybody has?
There is one doubt. Clone may affect the original project.
The clone will not affect the clone. When if you push, the owner will have the ability to whether accept or reject your changes. So not really. Where clone will be in your local system until it is merged to the main system.
Priyalji, should I unmute you? You have written yes. Acha, I think no doubt.
Oh, okay. Uh, Let me just reshare my. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So I've gone ahead and this is my personal GitHub account. You can just create your GitHub accounts by just logging in you using the SSO or a single sign-on from Google. There will be nothing complicated about creating an account. You can go ahead and create an account from there. I will show you how to create a repository and then we'll work upwards from there. Right. So here is a button where you get a new thing. When you click on that, it will create a new repository for you, and your repository can have a name. Now I will just create a repository called superhero. Right, I'll give a description called my super is Iron Man. And you can choose your visibility. As I said, all this repository can be either private or can be public. What is a public repository? Anybody who has access to your GitHub ID can come here and see the repository that you have made public and can work on it. A private repository will not be shown to anybody else until you have given access to them. Right? So I'll add it. What is a README file? README file, I'll again explain you. It is nothing but a file that will explain what the project is doing. And a git ignore file is a file that will allow you to ignore any files that has to be, if you don't want to track in your repository. Again, I'll show that to you. Right. I've created this particular, I'm creating this repository enough. Now I have my superhero repository. Right. The name is superhero. I have my description. My superhero is Iron Man. Right. Now, what do I do? Now I will take this particular system. What I can do is I'll just copy this information. You can also download a zip. I will go to a folder that I've created, and then I will just I'll open my command prompt, and I will do a git clone of this system. Yes. Now, if I look at my repository, there is this folder created, git superhero, right? I can just go into that system, and then if I look at, I have one file called readme. For everybody's convenience, I will just open an IDE, which will be easier for to show or represent the data that is being changed. So give me a moment.
Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Sir, it is just like what VS Studio.
Yes, I am coming to VS Studio only. I am just opening it 1 second.
Okay, so both can work similarly.
In behind the scene in Visual Studio, it is Git powering the Visual Studio. Like for example, I have opened the folder, right? This is just basically the repository that I am present, that is present in the system. This is the readme file that we have created. Hopefully my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Okay. So what do we do here? I will I will open my terminal and I will show you the commands that we had. Right? Let's say I have git status, the command that we had talked about to check the status. So git status will give you what branch you are on and what changes you have made. Let's say I want to let's explore git status a little more. But what I said, the magic of the entire git is in the concept of branch. Let me first create another branch. Uh, let's call it change super hero and don't worry about the commands. I will give you a separate cheat code of all the commands, but particular command will create a new branch for you. Now, if I do git status, it will show you I am on branch change superhero, and there is no file change as of the point. Let's say I want to create. I want to change my superhero to Superman. Right now, if I see, you can see that there is one untracked file that we have made change. Now let's add it. I'm gonna add this file, add it to my stage. Now here in the VS Code, it does the same thing that I'm doing in the command prompt, but it will show you that it is a staged file. Similarly, in my if I do git status of it, if I do git status, it will also say staged file is readme. So it is ready for committing. Now, if I just commit it, now the commit information is committed. If I go to git log, now it shows me a log ID which shares that which comes with the description change hero and the information that are present to here. Right now, what you can do is now you have made the changes, but you want to go back to your. You also want to change it again. Let's say I want to go Superman to Batman, and I saved it. I'm adding it again. I'm going to change the commit ID, change to Batman, and I've committed it. Now, if I look at the logs, then I can see that oh, I've changed hero to Batman, change hero if I've made it was to Superman, and then I have the main file. Now, for some other reason, you feel like nah, you don't want to have Batman as your favorite hero. You want to go back to Superman. What you can do is you can just use a command git revert and copy the ID. And then let's see, before I click it, you can see the superhero that is typed here is Batman. But the moment I change, it is reverting back, it is asking for a merge. And it is showing, sorry, it is going back to Iron Man, the first one. Because maybe I've copied the commit ID wrong. But similarly, you can jump into any of this and you can go to a particular point where yours let me undo this. One second. Okay. Yes. So you can move back with any of this. Like, again, I've come back to Batman. So you can use it git logs to get all your logs present in the system to revert yourself to any of the position that was previously there on the timeline. Right? Now, how do you collaborate with all this? Now, all this code, what I've done is present to me locally. It is not present uh, in my repository. If you take a look at it, I have only one branch called as main, right? Now let me just push the information to my re- repository here. If I refresh now, you can see that it is asking for that there's some changes in this branch. I pushed it in my local, but you can see that it has present. This is the main branch that I have. But if you go to the other branch that was created, then my superhero is Batman here. It is the same file. If you look at it, it is the same file. It is the same README file, but the information is different. So until I merge this information, the main branch will always be the same. So similarly on the local, if you see that the current information is Batman, but if I change my repository and my repository now is on branch change superhero, but if I check out to, let's say, main, then my superhero is Iron Man, if it is, as you can see, since the branch changed. So the same file can have multiple information for the same thing, and you can collaboratively work for it. Let's say then I want to merge this information to find. So the whole concept of a pull request comes in. What is a pull request? When I've made some changes and you want to, as I said, the main or the master branch in a Git is always the primary source of truth. That is where everybody looks for if the main files are present. Other part is the side branches or the parallel universes created for the same files. Let's say I want to merge this particular back to the main thing. Let's say I change hero as a description and then I create a pull request for it. Right? And then you can see here, it shows me all the changes that I have done on that particular branch. It also shows me the changes to the content that happened to the file. So this way you can track all the files. I'm just for the demo purposes showing you one file, but you can do this for n number of files. If you take into big repository, there are 1,000 files changing at the same time, and you can have multiple people review the changes to accept or reject the files, right? Now going back to the main thing. Now I was approved it. I'm okay with the changes. I just click confirm merge. I merge the changes. Now, if you go back to the code and check in the main file, my superhero has changed from Iron Man to Batman. This is a branch main branch, but this Batman has changed. But locally, that doesn't happen because I've not pulled the data in. In my local branch, you can see I'm Iron. The my favorite hero is still Iron Man, and I'm in my repository is main. So how do we get that information? When you do git pull, that information is written back to your system. Now you can see my superhero has changed to Batman. Similarly, multiple people can raise the same request. They can create their own branches out of it, and then push the changes to the system and ask for a change. And then, if you want to, you can look at the review of the difference between the both. And if you're okay with that, you can do the changes. So this shows all the basic information and basic commands that I've shown in the presentation. So that will give you a suffice understanding. This will pretty much this is your if you are a developer or somebody who's coding, these commands are your 70% of the commands that you do on a day-to-day basis to maintain a code. Now, why is this important to maintain or maintain a code? Now, in codes, there are multiple files changing. There is like 1,000 files changing in a day-to-day level. And it is becomes very hard to know or to keep track of whether something is right or wrong. You write tests for it, but again, you don't know. That is why Git comes into play. Now, what happens is, let's say by mistake, you have reviewed and merged something into the main structure and it went to the production server where your main server is present. But due to the revert functionality that I've shown you, if you know where the faulty code was introduced, you can go to one log before it or one save or checkpoint before it and fix the information that is present there. Now, why does why do like you guys need to learn it? A lot of you here might not be coders or developers, right? What is the use case that you have that you need to learn Git or GitHub to make better use of this functionality? That is where the new age generation comes in. The AI part of it, right? Everybody is excited about AI. Everybody is using AI, and everybody are coding things and making programs. Now, when you're generating code and are working with that, you know at some point some things has to be saved. Maybe sometimes you have to go back. I know since everybody doesn't know code much and they're writing text, I'm scared I lose my job. But again, these are tools and tips that I'm giving you to save your code. Once you have generated some code, you want to save it somewhere. You do not want to save it in your local system and lose it, or you want to share it with an actual developer where you've worked most part of it, and AI has given you all the files that you need to generate. But then you need to share it to somebody a little more senior, little more who understands the code, because things are starting to get complex in an application that you are writing. That is where GitHub comes into play. Or also when you have, let's say you have created something and you keep on changing. And if you, when you're using something like GitHub, you can code all these checkpoints in one point. If and when case, if you want to go back in the system and go back to a point where you didn't like from a certain particular point X, whatever you have code, you have not, you do not like it, then it becomes a problem. Because the way that you might be doing it right now in using notepad or any other text editor directly, you don't know. Once you have shut down your system, you cannot do control Z to a point where the system can recognize, or you have closed application and you cannot do control Z anymore. In these places, understanding and knowing this concept of GitHub and allowing it to be present in cloud will help you to share, control, and authorize information in a way that is more secure, more efficient, and more collaborative. So that is where these tools like Git and GitHub, even though is a more developer centric code, can come in very handy when you are using AI to build application. So yeah, that is my short information about GitHub and Git. There's a lot more to learn, a lot more to explore. I'll definitely share articles and guides where you can learn this information in depth. But in a short period of time, in 1 hour, this is a small introduction to the topic. It is just tip of the iceberg, I might say. But this will give you enough context for you to understand more and know why the relevance of this is very much required. So that concludes my presentation. We are open for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, you can
Yes,
please
I
ask.
have unmuted everyone. You can talk. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
using this GitHub and Streamlit, I have made an app already.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
debugging it, I have the tool which I made. I have some problem in it.
Right, ma'am.
It was extracting some data, not extracting the data as per my need.
Right.
The tool which I made. So debugging it is the little problem.
Yes, ma'am. That is where if you have done most part of it, as I said, you can share it with a developer that you know who knows to code. and it will take him 5 minutes to just clone that information and reproduce the information. Rather than sharing your folder, he making some changes, and you want to learn what he made, but there is no copy of things that he has made is in his system, right? You want to know, you want to learn. Rather than just him making the changes, you want to understand what changes fixed it. Now that where GitHub can come into place and will give you the information and give you the files that he has made changes in to make the system work, so that you can use it in your further application creation and understand what went wrong.
Yeah. Any more doubts? You all can unmute yourself, those who have doubt.
Sir, I need to understand how can help with this Gits have helped to our finance peoples like a chartered accountants and all. What all it help in that? Will help in that solve any problem?
So with respect to finance people, you can save your files which are text into the system and then can track it. Maybe you can also track files, but it is not will not be visible. But when you're creating applications using AI, right? In this AI, world of AI, you create HTML pages, web pages by giving prompts to, let's say, chat GPT, or let's say you have created some reports which in text format that you have extracted from chat GPT. You want to keep an local information of things that change each time. Let's say you generate report every 2 days, and you want to copy the insight that is given from chat GPT and save it somewhere and keep track of these insights time on time. So that is where you can use this Git and GitHub to save your text information, or let's say it's, HTML or a small information web application that you have created, and handle that.
Sir, specific to chartered accountant field, I want to let you know that I have made an extractor tool
Mhm.
which was extracting details from the invoices PDF
Right.
and creating a CSV file, multiple files in just one click. It extracts all the invoice details in single Excel sheet. So, like, for this type of thing, automation के लिए थोड़ा ये सही रह सकता है कि बार बार एक एक चीज एक्सेल फील्ड में एक्सेल में
हाँ,
आपको
और
डालना
आप
पड़ता
क्या कर सकते हो कि एक बार आपने क्रिएट किया, आपके सीए फ्रेंड्स को भी शेयर भी कर सकते हो, कि ज्यादा काम नहीं होगा, उनको बस क्लोन करना होता है और उनके सिस्टम में रन करना होता है.
है एक्सेल
तो
और ये गिटहब और स्ट्रीमलीट यूजर इंटरफेस बना के दे देता है, तो दोनों के कॉम्बिनेशन से बन जाता है.
हाँ मैम.
दूसरा कि है ना, इसमें गिटहब में ऑलरेडी और बहुत सारे कोड जैसे स्टोर्ड है, जैसे जी कैलकुलेटर, इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेटर्स है, काफी कुछ है जो ऑलरेडी लोगों ने बना के उसमें रिपोजिटरी में डाले हुए हैं.
हाँ, जो पब्लिक रिपोजिटरी है उसको एक्सेस कर सकते हो, जो फ्री में आ जाता है, जो भी पब्लिक है. तो मे बी वट एवर समटाइम्स यू आर पेइंग फॉर, यू गेट इट फ्री ऑन दिस पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म्स और पब्लिक रिपोजिटरी. उसका छोटा सा लाइक फॉर्मूला है, प्रोसीजर होता है इंस्टॉलेशन के लिए, जो वो रीडमी फाइल में डाल देते हैं. यू कैन जस्ट कॉपी दैट एंड रिप्रोड्यूस इट, और आपको फ्री में टूल भी मिल जाता है. बहुत सारे जो कोड्स है उसको फ्री में डेवलपर्स करते हैं इधर. So a lot of this can be utilized on a code perspective. जैसे आप Google Docs में करते हैं, like whatever is present in the version control of Google Docs, where you can see what has changed, who has changed, but multiple people cannot have restriction and control over it. Whereas in particularly in Git and GitHub, you can control these accesses and things people can do as well. So थोड़ा सा security भी मिल जाता है Git और GitHub से. पर ये मेनली फोकस्ड है कि आई नो माय बॉस इज ए सीए एंड ही इज वेरी मच इनटू कोडिंग दिस डेज विद एआई. Anybody is in who is into financial should and always try AI automations, or code बनाए, automate करे, whatever is possible on the AI front. When you do such kind of small tools and presentations, it is better that you save it in your Git and GitHub repository, so that it can be mainly shared with other people. The purpose of doing this is to help others as well. और क्या हो जाता है कि यू कैन ट्रैक ऑफ ऑल द इम्प्रूवमेंट्स, और फीचर के लिए एक मल्टीपल पीपल को भी वो जब आप स्टार्टिंग में कर लेते हो, बट देन यू वांट योर अंडरलिंग्स टू वर्क ऑन इट गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, तो उनको भी एक्सेस देके यू कैन कंट्रोल व्हाट फीचर टू बी एडेड, नॉट एडेड, and such things can be controlled.
सर इवन इसमें को गिटहब को पायलट भी है दैट कैन राइट योर ओन कोड्स.
हाँ, गिटअप कोपायलट भी देता है फॉर स्मॉल एक्सटेंशन. आई मीन फॉर स्मॉल दिस थिंग इट गिव्स ए फ्री टूल. $5 के लिए आपको पूरा पेड वर्जन भी मिल जाता है विच विल हेल्प यू टू राइट कोड. एंड ऑल्सो दे हैव समथिंग कॉल्ड गिटअप पेजेस जो आपको होस्ट भी कर सकते हो, लॉट ऑफ ऑटोमेशन भी कर सकते हो. जो आपका कभी आपका टूल बिकम्स वेरी बिग एंड यू वांट टू स्केल एंड पुट इट टू AWS using GitHub, you can also upload it to AWS to manage your infrastructures and all that.
There is one request. How to I'm a first time using this. How to create an account? If you can help me, this is.
Sir, you can go to the GitHub page and then you can click on login. It will ask you for sign up if you don't have an account. You can just sign up using Google account.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Any more doubts, anyone?
Sir, my question.
Yes, sir.
My question is, when I'm working with the Excel file,
Yes.
sometimes it get corrupted, sometimes it get deleted. So how can I use GitHub to? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Your voice is echoing though.
Echoing too much, sir. Please check something. I think you are with mobile or something.
One. Am I audible now?
Yes.
So my question is, if I am working with the Excel or Word file, so what happen? Sometimes its file get deleted or sometimes files get corrupted, right?
Right.
So how I can use GitHub in my practice, or like if my articles or my colleagues are working on the same file, how can I use
So
GitHub?
Excel typically Git and GitHub was not done for Excel's more text files for code and all that. But what you can do is you can upload that Excel file to Git repository. Whenever you make the changes, you can just override that particular file so that it keeps a track of all this file and it will never get deleted. Every version that you add will be saved into the system. Whenever if you can add the description when you're committing it, you can go back to a particular point of that particular Excel and it will give you the exact Excel that you have uploaded. So how you save a normal text file, you will not be able to see it like what I have shown in the previous thing. You may not have been able to see it on the screen. It will come as a binary information, but the changes that you make to the Excel files are always tracked in Git and GitHub also. So you will
So it
always
can
get
be directly linked with
changes
my
that is.
laptop, means
Yes,
like
sir.
my working folder. So it can be directly linked with my folder.
It will work directly in your linked folder. Yes.
Okay, so I don't have to miss upload every time.
You don't need to upload every time. You have to run some commands from your local system. But again, it is like not uploading. You need not open a website to upload it.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
No problem.
Okay. Any more doubts?
Sir, can I have a
Maximum
contact
Sir,
detail?
even LLM, Chat GPT, or Grok can write the snippets for script for GitHub repository.
Yes, there are agents present which can directly access your like let's say there are something like cursor and even in Copilot, GitHub Copilot that can directly access your repository and make the changes directly there when if you give the information.
Such there is small request. Can I have a contact detail? Because we may face challenges by creating an account and using that. If you can have
Sure.
some contact detail.
Yeah, once the Q&A is done, I will just share the
Thank you.
contact
Thanks.
information.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll share the LinkedIn ID and contact detail. Don't worry. Don't worry. And anything else? Anybody? Any more doubts? Okay. So we'll wind up.
Yeah, this is my place you can reach me in. This is my email ID and my LinkedIn profile. You can put an email or you can drop me a message in LinkedIn. We can surely connect.
So it was a great event. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll wind up.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
for having the
Thank you
session
so much,
and giving this
Shishir ji. Thank you so
opportunity.
much. At
Thank
such
you.
a short notice, you accepted our invitation, especially for a topic, complex topic like this, which requires really expertise to master. It is not so easy. Somebody who's really into it, who is using it day and night. We needed someone like this, and you are really very simple way you have explained everything and all the doubts. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Hope a little knowledge is shared across.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night.